From European waters to the sands of the Middle East, SailGP descends to the pearl of the Gulf, Dubai. Race day one saw Jimmy Spithill show why he is a winner as the Aussies claim the top of the leaderboard.
Oh, they pushed it too hard.
Who has what it takes to claim the top prize? Welcome to the Dubai Sail Grand Prix. Dubai takes center stage as an event winner will be crowned today on the Persian Gulf, as SailGP opens up the Middle East leg of Season 4 with the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. Port Rashid hosts the world's best sailors as Championship Sunday arrives with the anticipation of a great day of racing. Alongside former world champion Emily Nagel and Olympian Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. The chase is on for the 10 national teams to claim a top 3 spot in the standings, thus punching their ticket to today's event final. But before that, we have 2 more fleet races out on the Gulf as fans make their way to some of the best viewing positions out on the seawall before the field is cut to only the top 3 teams for the event final. Let's recap what took place yesterday off the coast of the United Arab Emirates.
Day 1, race 1 in Dubai, as France get off to a flying start at the klaxon. Phil Robertson drives the lead for Canada alongside new addition Paul Campbell-James as wing trimmer, and they steal the win from France.
Race number 1 goes the way of the Canadians.
Race 2 sees Germany instantly kicked out with a black flag disqualification.
Oh, Germany gets the black flag, a delayed black flag from Craig Mitchell.
Jimmy Spithill led his native country to win race 2 whilst filling in for Tom Slingsby, which left New Zealand and Canada to take 2nd and 3rd place respectively. In the final race of the day, France once again started strong, but Quentin Delapierre pushed it too far, handing the advantage to Switzerland, who struggled to maintain their lead, with Ben Ainsley's team securing the final victory in race 3.
And your Emirates winning moment goes the way of Emirates Great Britain as they get the win in the 3rd and final race of the day. After 3 fleet races yesterday, it is Australia with Jimmy Spithill as the fill-in driver with the lead and 26 points out of 30. Canada and New Zealand currently are tied for 2nd with 21 points. Then it's Emirates, GBR, and France even on 20 points. For the Swiss, Denmark, and Spain, time is running out, and they will need some big performances in today's 2 fleet races if they have any chance of making the final. Germany and the U.S. are on the outside looking in. Well, big news out on the water, Emily. There will be a wing change going with the bigger wings.
Yeah, so all of the teams were actually given the decision whether they wanted to use the 24 or 29 meter wings today. Based off of the forecast, all 10 teams decided that 29 was the best performance choice. But nerves are a little high after the Kiwi disaster with that wing earlier in the season.
Let's check in with Stevie Morrison at today's course map.
Here we are over the P&O Marina in Dubai, and let's look at Sunday's race course. The start will always be crucial, and then it's that sprint to Mark 1. After Mark 1, it's the first time the boats can sail their own course. They're trying to find the shortest time between the gates, and in each gate, they're allowed to turn left or right. And remember that sailing boats only go fast when they sail at an angle to the wind. So that's why we see them zigzagging their way around the course. They're looking for tactical advantage to find those overtaking places. The water here is really flat, so accuracy is the key to finish first.
And more breaking news as we get a live look out on the Persian Gulf right now. There has been a 5-minute delay to race start for race number 4, the first race of the day, as one of the boats has some technical issues. And Stevie, when you're dealing with high-tech foiling catamarans like this tends to happen. Yeah,
some very little issues can take place. I mean, they've got to have this put this big. There's been a big change of configuration overnight. We look at the big 29-meter wing sail. The whole boat's been taken apart, put back together, and those little details can be a couple of gremlins, couple of niggles, but nothing that the the combined tech team won't be able to get on top of.
And there you see Jimmy Spithill on the left-hand side. You're used to hearing his name associated with the USA SailGP team. But Emily, he comes on board now filling for Tom Slingsby, who's on paternity leave.
Yeah, and you know, he slotted in pretty well yesterday. So hopefully more of that to come today. No pressure, but they went well yesterday.
No question about it. And there is the crew for today. Australia leading on points as we start the second day of this regatta. Jimmy Spithill, of course, filling in for Tom Slingsby, who's on paternity leave. We wish him the very best. He will be back for the next event coming up next month in Abu Dhabi. That's the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix. But Stevie, this changes things greatly because Jimmy Spithill, new driver to this team, comes maybe a little different. And remember, we're sailing with just 5 sailors today instead of 6.
Yeah, all the teams have very different playbooks for how they will organise their manoeuvres, and I think the one thing we saw yesterday and we've seen typical here in Dubai is those manoeuvres are absolutely critical. So every time you tow in the boat, whether that's going away from the wind where we call it a jibe, or whether you're going into the wind where we call it a tack, then any mistake there's potential to lose a lot of distance. You're going to lose distance anyway, but if you make little mistakes, you'll be punished. And teams like Spain saw that yesterday. In Los Angeles, they won in very similar conditions to this, so perhaps a little bit of a surprise. But it's just because it only takes a really small mistake to cause a big problem.
And we know a lot of the teams are a little bit nervous out there today with the 29-meter wing. This is the first time any of the teams have used that wing since the Kiwis breakage earlier in the season. So especially for the new USA team, it's going to be a little bit of a trial by fire as they won't have used this setup before.
Speaking of breakage, we're getting news that Spain may not be able to go on this first race, race number 4 of the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, as they are having some tech issues down there. Stevie, you talked about the configurations. When you change from the smaller wing to that bigger wing, it changes a lot.
Changes a lot. I mean, basically what we've done that for is there's a lighter winds today. Now, of course, out here SailGP, we're powered by nature, aren't we? So we can only deal with what wind comes out. So for the wing trimmer here, we see Blair Tuke, Olympic gold medalist, couple of silver medals, couple of America's Cup. He's got a lot of honours around him. But for him, what he's got to do is he's got to go back into his notebook. He's got to remember the settings, remember the little nuance of these wings. There'll be a different playbook to use with this big wing. But fundamentally, we got a bigger engine on the boat today because we got less fuel in the tank.
And it's quite interesting because this is the first time the teams have actually had the choice themselves of which wing to use. Now, they did all pick the same wing. We could have seen a couple boats out there with a 24-meter wing instead today. But key part of that decision is deciding which would be faster based on the forecast. So when the boats are fully up and foiling, 6 people on board, the 24-meter wing is faster. It's a little bit smaller, so it says less drag. But when the hulls are in the water, H1 mode or H2, that's when both hulls are down, then we think that bigger wing is a lot better.
And Paul Campbell-James comes over from the American team to Canada to work with Phil Robertson. He will be the wing trimmer, Stevie, and now he's a guy with a lot of experience, so this is not going to be a baptism by fire for the man they call CJ.
No, yeah, CJ's had a lot of time out there with these big wings, and Phil Robertson as well. I mean, Phil's actually had, he's one of the most experienced F50 helms, had a lot of time in the boat, and I think for that Canadian crew, there was a lot of promise yesterday. They sailed very well, sailed pretty fast, and yeah, they won't be scared about this change-up, but they're going to need to try and keep it going into Sunday, because Season 4's perhaps not been what we expected for Canada so far. And another one of those teams, Emirates Great Britain, they've had a couple of wins this season. They're starting to show some real form early on, and effectively this is the home race for the Emirates sponsored British boat here, and so they'll be keen to perform in front of fans. Of course, a year ago Ainsley had it in his hands and he dropped off the foils a few meters from the line, but Hannah Mills on board there, strategist, and I think for someone like Nick Hutton coming in as grinder, he's at the front right hand side of our screen working with Hannah on those handles there, and effectively as they spin the handles it moves the rope that will pull that big wing sail in and out that Ian Jensen uses. So, you've got to think there's a bit more load on that today with that bigger wing up, so they're going to be working hard.
Absolute all-star crew for Emirates Great Britain. Ben Ainsley, 4-time Olympic gold medalist, won silver, 6-time world titles in the Finn class. Hannah Mills, of course, brings her gold medals on board, so we'll see what they can pull off. Remember, Great Britain won the last race yesterday, race number 3, so they're in a good position. Everyone racing to get a top 3 position as we now go under a minute and a half to go, Stevie, before the start of race number 4. Emily, this is a time to get nervous. We saw yesterday that's 10 boats all trying to fit in one spot, and now with the bigger wing.
all trying to get into one spot and hit that line with speed. It's going to be crucial today to get up onto the foils as quickly as possible, because any team not on the foils is going to be left on the dust.
So the dance begins now as we are under a minute to go for the start of day number 2, Championship Sunday here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas. There you see France getting themselves into position, Stevie. 45 seconds to go, and there will be a sweet spot on that start line.
There is the favoured place to be, and that's indicated right-hand side of our screen by that greeny blue in the middle of the line there. So it's a pretty even start line. That should be the fastest position on the start based on distance sailed and the speed you'll be able to sail. If you start closer to the bottom speed, you got bottom of our screen, you got further to sail, but you should have a faster angle. Top of our screen, where Emirates Great Britain are heading right now, there's going to be a shorter distance, but you've got a less fast angle. It's tight at the top of the line.
Look at
Canada,
Australia.
they're going to be struggling for room here. Who's going to be able to get on the foils at the gun? Emirates Great Britain at the top of our screen with a late run in. Canada spin the boat down, but I think Phil Robertson's early. This is aggressive by the Canadians, looking for that line to turn white for a clear start. Canada miles over, Germany over.
Early start penalty, Germany and Canada.
And Emirates Great Britain out the bottom of the line. Well, he's shot through unnoticed, and they're up and foiling on board Emirates Great Britain. They're going to lead the fleet to Mark 1 from here. New Zealand, Australia, they pop to the foils, and those boats are going to be able to drag race away.
Left shift at the moment, so happy to hold up Mark.
Here, Hannah Mills talking about the left shift.
This way.
Look at that, grinding and calling out some good tactics for Ben Ainsley.
That's right, talking about the direction of the wind. So the wind's rotated to the bottom left-hand corner of our screen, which should mean that they'll just turn away here and be able to progress straight down the course. It's tight though, Todd.
Here we go, mark number 1, race number 4 on Championship Sunday. It's Emirates GBR that has the lead. Then it's New Zealand, Australia, and Denmark going 3 wide around mark 1.
Oh, it's going to be hard for Denmark from here. They've got no rights. They've got to keep clear of Australia. Australia have got to keep clear of New Zealand. New Zealand will push these other 2 boats towards the edge of the course, but how long can they survive before they start to get dirty wind? Rockwell, move ahead. They put their dirty wind off to Australia, and Australia disappear out of the picture. Expect to see New Zealand peel away as all the boats set up for the first manoeuvre.
The Danish currently the fastest boat on the course, 50 kilometers an hour before they started this manoeuvre, flying along.
And Stevie, this could be a situation like we saw yesterday where everyone gets a great start, gets up on the foils, and then the wind's going to die down.
Everyone that gets a great start's got the opportunity to sail the race plan. All these teams will have had a plan A, but of course, as we know, that every battle plan never survives first contact with the enemy. And so for the crews like Canada, Switzerland, France, they're already on to plan B, maybe plan C, but Emirates Great Britain, this will be a preordained race plan that they should be able to sail what is theoretically the fastest time around the course.
And rumor is confirmed Spain unable to go in this race number 4, so that's going to take them out of the running for a spot in the final event. Remember, the top 3 boats will race off at the end of the day. Right now at gate number 2, it's Emirates GBR out in front, and look at New Zealand and Rockwell Denmark coming in hot.
New Zealand cut the corner, they've got the right of way. Rockwell Denmark will probably follow around. I think something to watch for today. Every time you turn the boat, you lose speed. A lot of the crews are going to try and minimise the number of manoeuvres they do, because they know they'll lose speed. And on that word, Jimmy Spitto, as he seems to love to do to me, does the exact opposite, splits the course. He will be sailing into clear wind, and they've executed that manoeuvre perfectly. Fantastic manoeuvre. If they'd fallen off the foils there, look at the fans on the right-hand side of our screen. They're pretty much on board the boat out there, which is quite amazing scenes. But yeah, Australia, if they'd fallen off the foils, that would have been disastrous. But they executed it perfectly, and here they go. They're progressing up the course well as Emirates Great Britain. They're leading the fleet away, and they need a result here because the race to the final is on, Todd.
Still light spot here at the moment, yeah.
Can't see the Aussies in the foiling.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just our boat at the moment, Han.
Yeah, copy.
Big light spot here.
There we go. What great coaching there from Ben Ainsley. Our boat. All we can control is our boat. Control the controllables. Nothing we can do about Australia, bottom right-hand side of our screen. If they're in more wind, well done them. But we're to the top left of the course on Emirates Great Britain. We've got to sail the wind that we've got that we can control.
And here's the head-to-head at the moment. The Danish with the highest average speed, 38 kilometers an hour, but the British currently have spent more time foiling, 70% so far. At the moment, all the boats are off the foils, but still searching for every gust they can.
Todd, just something to pick up on here. Look at the angle New Zealand are sailing versus the angle Great Britain are sailing at the moment. New Zealand progressing nearly straight up the course, but Great Britain have chosen to try and accelerate the boat. And look, they've popped it on the foils, but it's the great example there. New Zealand choosing to sail slower, less distance, but Emirates Great Britain, they've sacrificed a bit of distance to build the speed to get on the foils. That's always the compromise in sailing. Are you going to go faster, further, or slower, shorter?
So a big talking point today will be the disturbed wind coming off those large 29-meter wings as we continue to race. This is race 4 of 5. There'll be 5 full fleet races here on the Arabian Gulf as we get ready for the event final at the end of the day. It is now Emirates GBR back in front, Denmark in second, and New Zealand Stevie has dropped back to third.
Yeah, well, they've got up and foiling, and New Zealand have the right of way in this situation. Wind coming over the right-hand side of their boat, they have the rights. They'll be ahead of Rockwool Denmark, but Emirates Great Britain, you better make this call right, Ben.
A little more. Looks like we're going to be one in the left. I think that's okay for pressure.
Sounds pretty calm. He's not as worried about the New Zealand boat as I was for him. Clear cross there for Emirates Great Britain. Nice manoeuvring. And I think another feature, as we move away from the shore, we're seeing a little bit more wind at the top end of this course. It's not lifting up and over the city. And here we go, true wind speed on the boats, Emily.
So this is showing the breeze across the course, the Kiwis on one side versus the Danish on the other. So it isn't a huge difference. It's only a kilometre an hour of breeze difference, but that can be enough to get the boat up onto the foils.
As we get a good look at the New Zealand squad executing that, one hole goes into the water, so that is technically H1. We go down on the water with a 4th member of our broadcast team for a report. Here's Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
The breeze is super inconsistent out here, but what that tells me is there's lots of opportunity. I think where the teams are excelling is when they're patient. So I think Great Britain did a really good job. They're patient, and when they knew that the opportunity was to foil, they really seized it. The conditions out here are very similar to what we saw on Sunday last year, and we know that was an exciting racetrack.
We're looking forward to it, Lisa. Thanks much more from you as the day progresses on. This is gate number 3 as they make their way now downwind. It's Emirates GBR in front. And New Zealand sits in second now with Denmark dropping back to third. There you see the speed, Stevie. They've got to hit that 30, that magic 30, and that'll get them up on the foils.
Yeah, that's a great point, Todd. For everyone new to SailGP watching for the first time, when we do get our overhead view, you'll see the speeds at the top of the mast. And yeah, 30 kilometers an hour, just a little bit under probably, but 30 is a good round number for us to remember. That's where we can expect the boats to be able to pop up on the foils. Emirates Great Britain, they're sailing away from the wind. Less drag over the boat now, so we see higher speeds as they go downwind. But as we come down towards the fans on the shoreline there will be a bit more turbulent, disturbed wind. Here we go, race to the final, Emily.
And so as it currently stands, this would put Australia, New Zealand and GBR into the final race. There is still one more fleet race to go, so nothing's locked in yet, but the battle is on. The French trail with 27 points.
Boy, and that really is some of the best teams in SailGP in consistently with Ben Ainsley, Jimmy Spithill, and Pete Burling.
That's last season's grand final, Todd, isn't it? That is the grand final of season 3. But left-hand side of our screen, Rockwool Denmark, they've been one of the key top performers this season. They had a poor day 1. They'll be looking to get themselves back and challenging at the front of the fleet here. They're doing a nice job right now. They set up for a manoeuvre. Can they keep it on the foils?
Denmark, going back to yesterday, got a 4th, a 5th, and they finished race 3 in dead last in 10th. So for Nikolai Sehested, this race is critical. Remember, it's 10 points for a win, 1 point for last place. And right now, the Americans sit at the bottom of the table with Spain not being able to compete. So 9 boats out racing. The Americans and the Germans still a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, big learning curve. I mean, first day with that 29-meter wing, it's like putting a A380 wing up in the air above your head. So it's quite a shock to the system for Victor de Leon over there. I should imagine, as we see Emirates New Zealand, they take the setup here. They're going to sail in towards gate 4. It's a right turn and then just straight to that finish, Todd. So good work by Emirates Great Britain. There's a little camera boat on the course, probably not ideal, but they should be able to avoid them on board New Zealand. And they're in a straight fight between Rockwool Denmark, because Emirates Great Britain, well, they've got this in the bag.
Okay, all good here.
So Emirates GBR comes around one more gate, and they will see the finish line right in front of them, right in front of the fans. And that is the Emirates winning moment for 2 races complete. It is Emirates GBR that gets the win.
Emirates, their brilliant race, good start. They nailed the start. They managed to get the holy grail, which is space and speed at the start line. They were left to themselves at the bottom of that line. Pete Burling's New Zealand crew, well, they'll be happy. They've just got to look to make that final 3 here today.
Foil now.
So the Kiwis come across in second place, still in good position as per Emily's numbers. Denmark now come in, and this should do some good for them because they will jump up. Remember, 10 points for win, so they're going to pick up 8 points on this third place, and they need this desperately after yesterday's 10th place finish in the third race.
Yeah, nice race. It was a good race, just needed to win, but yeah.
Simple as that.
That's always the case, Nikolai.
All right, the battle is on now, Stevie, because there's still points to be had. You have Jimmy Spithill skippering the Australians currently. They are in 4th place. They're in the top 3 as it stands right now. In France, man, they needed a top 3 finish.
They really did, but France, as Emily said, we've still got another race to go. France have kept themselves in the hunt here with this. They're sailing really, really well on that French boat. There's been a massive improvement on their light air performance. Yesterday, they just pushed that ride out. They pushed too hard and had that crash down. Of course, at the time, we said it might be costly. Right now, looks a bit costly to me.
So a 5th place finish would put the French on 26 points, so only 4 points behind the Brits and the Kiwis. So there is still a chance they could make the final.
Stevie, do you see any correlation between the fact that the top 3 boats today that switched over to the 29-meter big wing are excelling, and those who have a little less experience not doing as well? Because, as you said, this is really a challenging thing. It's like putting a 16-year-old in a Ferrari when they first get their license.
Yeah, well, it's a big change, and I think with all of this, the more experience you've got, the quicker you are to make those changes. But I think teams like Canada, Paul Campbell-James, Will Trim are on board there. The Swiss with Will Ryan, you know, they've had experience on these big wings. So I think, to be honest, let's just see. It was one race. We've only had one race so far today. They'll have all learnt. They'll have learnt a little bit about the course, a little bit about the timings at the start. But for me, the defining thing there was New Zealand, Australia, and of course, most importantly, Emirates, Great Britain absolutely nailed the start. They were the first 3 boats on the foils, and they were the first 3 boats at Mark 1.
How about Phil Robertson? He had to go across the line. He had nowhere to go, so he ran it, but that really cost him because that start put him to the back of the fleet, and they have finished in 7th place for the Canadians.
Yeah, well, I think when you've got a rolling start like we have in sailing, you know, that whole positioning starts a minute and a half before the start, and he knew he was in trouble from about a minute or even longer than a minute out. Got his plan was a bit wrong, had to readjust, and there you go. He's got to learn from that, and what's happened now that's done, it's all about what can we do in this next race.
So the Germans and the Americans still out on the course with just a few minutes left in this one. Remember, the race is only 16 minutes long. So some learning still to be had out there by Eric Heil and the new driver for the American team, Taylor Canfield and company.
Both boats foiling downwind well here, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of learning for these teams. And of course, you know, everyone that comes here is good, but this is about finding how good you are when you join SailGP.
Talk about good. 2 races back-to-back, race 3 and now race 4. It's Emirates GBR that gets the win. Ben Ainsley, Hannah Mills, part of that crew of 5. Ben, congratulations on another win. You start day 2 the way you ended day number 1. What do you anticipate the rest of the day with the conditions, and have you done enough already to get yourself into that event final?
Looks like it's a nice breeze. It's better than forecast, and we got this big wing on, which is helping. So good performance by the boats. Yeah, nice race for us. We certainly need another good race. It's not done by any means, and we all know in SailGP plenty can turn around.
Yeah, well, talking of that, Hannah, you well, Ben, you have to say, nailed the start in that race, and you were first to pop on the foils. What's the strategy if you find yourself in the pack in this next race?
I think, well, Hannah, come on, tell us, what do we do?
It's really tough when you're in the pack, and that's where the positioning and the accuracy on the manoeuvres is just so critical, and that'll for sure be the difference.
Ben and Hannah, we appreciate your time. Best of luck to you in race number 5. We'll hope to see you in the event final. So we'll take a look at the race standings after race number 4, and what a performance, as Stevie pointed out. Emirates GBR getting off the line so cleanly. And here we go after 4 races. It is Australia with Jimmy Spithill at the helm, 26 points. Tie still between New Zealand and Canada on 21. Emirates GBR now sitting in 4th on 20, tied with France. And we will continue to update the points and the numbers, but man, it's going to be a big race in race 5.
Once again, the Canadian team providing a little bit of drama at the start. We see a lot of the other teams reacting. It's a tight start line. Australia squeezing through, trying to find a gap. But GBR nailed it. They're at the top end of the line and have all the space in the world, which allows them to accelerate towards the line and hit the line at 26 kilometers an hour of speed and quickly up onto the foils. Meanwhile, Canada 30 meters over.
Well, there you go. At Mark 1, of course, that nice lead, just a big enough lead for Emirates Great Britain to probably be a little bit relaxed. Sailed the boat fast, but once you're out in front, you can make your own decisions. And New Zealand here, they just clung on the inside long enough. Rottwell, Denmark are about to give some dirty air, but New Zealand cut the corner. And once we got to the bottom end of this course, then it was all really opened up, and it was just about accurately nailing manoeuvres, as Hannah told us. Emirates Great Britain did that well.
So the big winners in race number 4, Emirates GBR get the win. New Zealand finishes in second, Denmark in third, with Australia in fourth, and France in a top 5 finish here. Day number 2 of the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. Well, SailGP is powered by nature, and here in Dubai, they have taken those efforts to a whole new level in conjunction with the COP28 Global Conference, as well as the effort to improve gender equality.
Well, that's right, and as we race for the future here with SailGP, we've got our Women's Pathway programme, and we've seen some great steps forward with that over the season, but we had a fantastic day here in Dubai. First time an all-female crew on board an F50, and the future's bright for that path.
And onshore, SailGP, with support from Agreco, have set up the largest solar array in sport ever, ensuring our tech site is powered by 100% clean energy.
And you may have noticed the splash of yellow on our graphics as the league continues their race for the future. SailGP, powered by Mother Nature.
Well, that's the end of race number 4 here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. The conditions are similar to yesterday, a little bit lighter, but just absolutely glamorous sailing. It's warm outside, sunny, flat water, and perfect for these 29-meter wings they've got on. The wind is around 8 to 9 knots, but easily foiling M1 or on the foils fully. If you may have noticed, I'm actually somewhere new today. I'm not on the water. I'm actually on land watching the racing from the coach's booth. And I touched a little bit on it yesterday, but the coach's booth is right on top of the water, just meters from it, actually. And this is where all 10 teams' coaches are watching the races and communicating with the athletes. So as you can see right behind me, we have Denmark, which they've got 4 computers with them, and they have so many different perspectives. They've got the data at their fingertips, and they're actually able to communicate with the athletes before, during, and after the races. So it's almost like they're playing God, because they have such a big perspective of the races, and they've got all the data and basically the same broadcast that you see on your TV, they've got right in front of them. What's really interesting is that here today, we have a few sailors helping out the coaches, actually. So we have Hannah Diamond helping out the coach from the British team, communicating with the sailors on board, giving her opinion on how they can get around this race course. And you have other sailors who are not on the water, but are helping out the coaches. And it can be a huge advantage to have that. So it's Super Sunday. We're getting ready for the 5th race of the day. This is where it's all left out on the line, and I'm excited to see who can get this next win, because it'll be super important for those top 3 teams to make it into the final.
So the current standings now after 4 races looks like this. Australia has the lead, and then you've got Emirates GBR New Zealand tied on 30 points. France currently on the outside looking in. Remember, only the top 3 make today's event final. Well, a beautiful day here in Dubai at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. This is event 6 of 12 as we are in the midst of season number 4 racing today on the Arabian Gulf. Well, we all know that Sir Ben Ainslie is one of the world's best sailors, and he has the accolades and awards to back that up. However, can he fly other modes of transportation? We tagged along as he took a flight lesson in another genre while here in Dubai, courtesy of the Emirates Flight Training Academy.
Students
have to do before they go on an actual flight, and that's of course going to a simulator where we can simulate some of the emergency aspects of flying, and that's the start of their training.
Oh, that'd be really interesting. We use the simulator a lot with the F50 and SailGP, so it'd be great to see what it's like in your world. So, yeah, thanks.
Let's go have a look.
Yeah.
This is what we use to start the students' training before we get to the real aircraft. Okay, so heels on the floor. This is exactly what you can expect on our flight.
It's very responsive, actually.
Yeah. Okay, rotate, bring the nose up, bring up. There you go. So now, do you want to take this into the real airplane, into the sky?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
Wassail 978 Juliet, contact Dubai South radar 120.4. Have a safe flight.
Yeah, don't forget to look outside. And just keep that nose down, because we need to descend. Ah, it's looking good. Quite a nice view.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So we're going to maintain 1,000 feet now again.
Leeward 23, just confirm you will be landing at Expo West, sir.
Okay, and we can start the descent, so we'll bring the power back. Okay, I'll just follow you through. I want you to do as much as possible. Yeah. Come back on this.
All right.
Better keep it on the line now, there's a camera.
It's on you, right?
Yeah. Good job, man. Well done.
Nice work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was brilliant. So that was an amazing experience, but I still think I've got a way to go before I'm flying an A380.
So Ben Ainslie certainly flying in the air and out on the water, as Emirates GBR have won the last 2 races, and they look poised to put themselves in a top 3 position. But the big battle is going to be for that 3rd and final position. Right now, New Zealand has it. France is only 4 points behind them, and it's all going to come down to that last race. Can France overtake New Zealand, get a little help? Well, the battle is certainly on for a top 3 position as Pete Burling and company try to get themselves into the event final.
Well, yeah, it's tight out there. Look at these points. You can see Emirates, Great Britain, New Zealand, 2nd and 3rd tied on points, but it's France and Canada that have got to put in a race win and then just pump the pressure on board the New Zealand crew.
Here's Lisa Darmanin down on the water earlier.
Nice race, the both of you. I think you guys are sitting in 3rd going into the final race before the final. Do you change anything, or what's the plan this one, Liv?
Not going to change much, always aiming to win, but yeah, it's always good to go into race 5 in good shape, and yeah, just go out there and do our best and get into the final.
We know plenty has happened overnight, Blair, and obviously I'm sure a nervous moment for you with the 29-metre wing back, but how does it feel?
Yeah, first time sailing with the 29-metre wing since it came down on us in Saint-Tropez, so yeah, teams obviously worked through that, got around each other over the last couple of months, and yeah, put it sort of behind us today and come out with confidence. We sailed the boat well in these conditions, and yeah, just enjoying it really. So hopefully we can, like Liv said, get another good one on the board and get into that final.
Does it change the way you sail, having the bigger wing, or is it kind of same thing, more power?
Yeah, pretty much same thing, more power. The main thing downwind is that the boats can get a little bit, or get to the bottom mark faster, either stay foiling longer or into H1 mode. So keeps the racing a little bit closer. I quite enjoy it from a wing trimmer point of view, having so it's pretty amazing what these wings can do, harnessing the wind. So yeah, it's good, but yeah, all eyes focused right on this next race now.
Well, good luck both of you, and thanks for chatting, and have fun.
So that's what the Kiwis are thinking as the teams get themselves into position. Good to see Spain back out, so we'll have all 10 boats sailing in the 5th and final fleet race of the day, and then the field is cut down to 3. Right now, let's get a first-hand report from the water from Lisa Darmanin down on the water.
Well, I know the Kiwis are looking pretty slick out here, but that French team, they're really gunning for a final. It's been a pretty tough season for them, and we did see glimpses of them back in the game. I know after talking to Quantan yesterday, he's very happy to have his flight controller, Jason Saunders, back on the boat with the 5 people on board, so I'm sure they'll be pushing hard. It is a difficult racetrack here. I think the top 4 can really tussle for it, but if you're in 5th and back, it's really tough. So over to you guys to take us through another foiling start.
All right, so we are set to go now. It'll be race number 5 coming up on 90 seconds to go, and this will be the final fleet race of the day. Then the field will be cut. It'll only be the top 3 battling it out for the title here, the event final at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. As we come up on 1:20 to go, all 10 in the start box, and we are moments away from race number 5. $1:10 to go before the start of race number 5 here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, and Emily Nagel. Lisa Darmana down on the water. 1 minute away now. All 10 in the box. It'll be a little tight quarters. Remember, last race it was 9. Spain unable to go. Emirates GBR on a 2-race win streak. Stevie, can they make it 3 in a row?
Well, I don't see why they can't. I think how you approach these next 45 seconds is going to be very definitive in who wins the race. But as we see Canada and France, left-hand side of our screens, Great Britain actually have changed up their start completely. Last start, they started towards the top of our screen. At the moment, they're lining themselves up to be closer to this end near the bottom of the line. It's a more upwind end of the line, perhaps a slightly lower risk end. But the data's telling us the fastest place to start is by that green triangle. That should give you the best compromise between distance to sail to the mark and the speed you'll be able to do it. 19 seconds to go. Emirates Great Britain are going to have a big gap at the top end of this line. They should be able to start fast on the foils. Australia towards the bottom of the line, and then the disturbed air in the middle of the line. It's New Zealand trying to find a gap through the fleet. Who's going to get their timing right? Ben Ainsley coming in fast, but is there going to be room? Taylor Canfield's going to shut the door. Wow, expect a protest there, but that was aggressive from the US and aggressive from Emirates Great Britain. If they're clean, they're going to lead at Mark 1, and Canada on the inside, giving themselves every chance, with New Zealand as well up and foiling out the middle. This is going to be super tight into Mark 1.
This is the umpires. GBR, you're disqualified.
Oh, no!
Boat not keeping clear.
Big
taking
call.
Not entitled at the windward end of the start line.
Oh, that is huge. That's what happens when you mess with a match racer. Match race world champion Taylor Canfield tried to shut the door on him.
And that means the battle is now between French and Canada for that 3rd spot in the finals. They both came into this race with 26 and 25 points respectively. So if Canada can stay ahead of France, that would be them through to the final.
Look at this. This is pressure right now. Real pressure. New Zealand are in good shape. Australia are last. You're going to have to get your abacus out here, Emily, because I've got a funny feeling this could be tight. I'm not sure Australia will make the final as it stands right now. And New Zealand, they're in the battle. But France and Canada, when the pressure's on, they've come out punching.
The second black flag of the event goes the way of Emirates GBR. Remember, the first one came yesterday on Germany, Stevie, for almost an identical move, and I feel like Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell had no choice but to issue it.
It's a move we've seen. It's consistent ruling from the umpires. It's got to be said on that, really. However, oh, look at these points.
Abacus, bottom left. If Australia come last, they will not make the final, so they need to get a position, or they're not racing.
Todd, what I'd say to you as we approach Gate 2 with Canada in the lead and in good shape.
Oh, good. GBR's disqualified. Coming down. How good.
No one has greater joy in that decision than Phil Robertson.
No, but what I would say is make friends and influence people. Don't careful who you make enemies of. And Taylor Canfield has made a definite enemy of the Great Britain crew with that move, because he didn't need to shut the door that aggressively. He could have started the race. He didn't need to hit the protest button for me. Wasn't quite as clear cut a penalty as the German one yesterday for me. However, it's consistent from the umpires, so no big surprise. Left-hand side of the screen, 9th place Australia. Jimmy Spithill, he's done it before, but he's going to need to pull a rabbit from the hat here, because the 2 boats he needs to beat are 1st and 2nd.
So Jimmy Spithill, can he be the comeback kid again, this time in the green and gold for Australia? They currently sit in 9th place. As Emily pointed out, they need to pick up 1 more position on this 5-leg race. This is the final fleet race of the day.
And this is just huge for the season standings as well, Todd. We've got a battle within a battle here, but we see Australia, they're at the back. The wind's disturbed, it's all turbulent, and it's harder to get that power and accelerate once you lose it.
But it's not all down to the Australians. The pressure is also on the French to hold that 3rd place position, because if they come third or fourth here, they move below Australia.
Left-hand side of the screen is showing us, good point.
It's not just about Australia. Canada and the French have to minimize their errors as much as possible.
And Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but the tiebreaker is how you performed on the last race. So France would hold a tiebreaker on Australia.
Exactly.
Oof. Contan, here you go. Well, there's some pressure on this race for a lot of the crews, and in this light winds, it only takes a little bit of tension, slightly over tight, pulling in the wing sail, you close it down, stall the wind around that wing, as we see France now. They turn the boat away. Look how they're sailing parallel to our ladder lines. They're barely progressing up the course, and at the top of the screen, New Zealand, well, they're choosing to go a bit slower. France turn. They don't look what they see on their side. Oh, Contan, do you hear that cry? That's bad news for the French. They're losing positions quickly here.
And they go flat, both hulls in the water as the wind looks like it's dropping off just a little bit. Look at that, 12.8 kilometers across the course as we go down on the water. Lisa Darman and Lisa, what are you seeing? And do you see any chance of more wind coming for this race and the event final?
Well, I'll tell you what, France just popped up on the foils. They're the only boat foiling up here. So even though he had that gasp, they did have a really good puff. I'm not sure if it was from the helicopter, but yeah, looking really good to come back into this race. No one else is foiling.
Well, there we go, we see him foiling here, Todd. He's not got the right of way on board France, but to be honest, when you're going that fast, you won't mind sailing a little extra distance, dipping behind New Zealand. Perhaps it was a helicopter gust, who knows, but whatever it was, it's great news for French fans. Canada up and foiling as well, and these two boats, they had to perform, they are performing. Can they continue to perform for the rest of this race?
So it looks like the Canadian and the French are in a battle to get that final position. It looks like the Kiwis are safe. It looks like they're going to move on to the event final with Emirates GBR. If you're just joining us, black flag disqualified at the start as they barged the line, according to Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell, on the USA.
All right, Billy. Come on, mate. Here
we go, final tack in, and this is of course top of the course. We've just got one downwind leg to go here, Todd, so if the Canadian boat can get on the foil in the next 30 seconds, they're in great shape here. But Phil Robertson saying he doesn't like what he sees. He's going to come towards the bottom of our screen. He'll turn left, and what he says when he says looking for pressure, he's looking for darker patches on the water. That's more wind. More wind's what you need to get up on the foils, as we see here. New Zealand are foiling. The French, they're fast enough to foil. It's gone green on the top of the French mast, but Canada are slow at the moment. France will be coming at them, but all the boats look like they're going to have to line up for a left turn. And who's going to be able to find the most wind, and who's going to be first to get on the foils after we go around gate 3?
It's a dangerous moment here for the French. In order for them to make the final, they need to stay ahead of the Kiwis, but the Kiwis are coming into this gate with more pace, and the French struggling to make the mark.
So if there's one boat you don't want behind you when you have to stay just in front of them, it's New Zealand, but it could be the spoiler here. He was the spoiler for Great Britain, but Taylor Canfield's up and foiling on board USA. Is he going to help out the old skipper of USA, Jimmy Spittle, on that Australian boat? Because it's going to be a big moment for the US team here. They will move up to second. They're provisionally second, but they've got to stick a couple of manoeuvres on this downwind leg. France needs to get on the foils quick. Pressure on.
Yeah, with the Americans moving into that second place position, that bumps the French down, which on points would put the French in fourth. That would give Canada, the Kiwis, and Australia the opportunity, despite the fact that Jimmy Spithill, filling in for Tom Slingsby of Australia, sit in 9th place.
Top of our screen, US nearly pulled off a foiling jibe, didn't quite nail it. They've got a lot of tipping over there. They're heeling right over. They've saved that, but can they re-accelerate that US boat? Because France are now foiling, and they're going to start shooting down this course. They've got to get ahead of the US boat.
On board and listening to Contant Delapierre, the driver for the French team. Currently in 3rd place right now, but that has him on the outside looking in. Only the top 3 teams will make it into the event final. That race coming up next.
Tight moment here, France, Spain. They're on different leg, but the French have got to be sure they're clear. They are clear. He had to alter his course a little bit. Good work by the French, and I like what I see of the French now. I think he's in good shape, but he has to execute the next manoeuvre well, because New Zealand, you know they'll be chasing him down. But Canada and Phil Robertson, looks like this crew change has got them moving up. Good vibe on board, and it's now, here we go. The French have stuck the manoeuvre. They're stayed on the foils. US has the right of way, but I like where the French are right now.
The Australians briefly gained a position which would put them into the final, but it looks like they're teetering on the edge at the moment at the left-hand side of the screen, whether or not they're in 8th or 9th.
And the numbers continue to change. Look at this, Australia now on 36 points. It's Canada and France that look like they're battling it out. We'll have to continue to crunch those numbers to make sure they are accurate. What we do know, though, is Canada looks like they are well on their way to getting the victory here in the 5th and final fleet race here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas. Remember, Canada kicked things off on Saturday with a huge win. Phil feeling pretty good about having Paul Campbell, James on board, and Stevie, it pays off as the Canadians come through. And this is your Emirates winning moment as Canada SailGP wins the 5th race.
Does that make a difference, Philip? Aussies are coming last.
There we go, Paul Campbell, James. He's on the phone to his coach, who's amongst the crowd there in the coach's corner. They're on the shore, but one advantage of that is he does have all the numbers. So he's talking to Philippe Presti. He was the US coach, of course, but Canada, Phil Robertson poached him as well. So they're trying to work out the numbers. Australia showing us 9th at the minute. For France and Canada, that's probably great news, but it's out of their hands now. It's all about what can Harry Houdini, or Jimmy Spithill, as he's also known, do to make that final. Can he overtake as many boats as he needs to get?
So looking at the numbers, I'd say the Kiwis and Canadians are safe. But if Australia can gain one more position, then they will be through to the final and the French will be out.
Yeah, because the French right now, even on points, and it goes back to that tiebreaker, the French having a better performance here in the 5th and final race. The Americans coming through. Taylor Canfield, the entire new crew for USA SailGP. Stevie, their best finish so far. Congratulations to them. They get a 3rd in race number 5.
Yeah, well, that is a brilliant result. They've sailed a great race there. A few more foiling manoeuvres. They obviously found some good boat speed. So Victor really unlocking the code on that big wing as the wing trimmer there, maximising the power and certainly getting in amongst it and having an effect on the outcome of the event with that aggressive move at the start. And New Zealand, Burling will be happy to be back in a final.
Peter Burling and New Zealand SailGP finishing 4th, good enough to put them into the final. So they've got one more race on the day. Just behind them, Nikolai Sehested and Rockwell, Denmark gets it done. So well done by the Kiwis, taking care of their business. Now everyone keeping their eye out on the race course, because there you see Jimmy Spithill currently sitting in 8th place. So they have moved ahead of Spain just barely, Stevie. That might be enough to take the French out of the top 3.
Yeah, and I like where he's positioned. He's got the controlling place. When Spain make the next manoeuvre and come back towards Australia, they will have to give way to the Australians. Australia up and foiling. He's showing us being in 8th. Doesn't really matter now. It all matters about this next manoeuvre for Spain. If Spain can stay on the foils, that's going to put huge pressure on Australia, but Spain will have to give way to Australia when they turn. So big moment coming up. Diego Botín, what can he do? Will be the spoiler. Looks like they're sailing in towards the finished boats. There's going to be a lot of disturbed wind in this area. I don't like where the Spanish are right now. Canada right in the way. France are going to be in the way, and this could knock France out of the final if Australia can stay ahead. Big moment here.
Spain trying to stay away from the traffic and keep the holes out. Meanwhile, just off to their left, look at Australia. Look at Jimmy Spithill.
He stays up. He's done a nice job on board Australia, but he's got to get down towards the zone. If he's outside the zone, it could go to advantage Spain. There's a yellow circle around this bottom gate, and if you're on the inside when you hit that yellow circle, it's advantage to you. So anyway, big moment coming up. Australia really needs to clip that right-hand yellow circle, and if they don't, Spain will be given the opportunity to dive inside. I'm a little surprised where Jimmy Spithill jibed then. He was trying to avoid the disturbed wind, but I think tactically now, advantage Spain. One more manoeuvre to go.
So Germany will finish in 7th, one spot behind the Swiss, but all eyes now on Australia and Spain. Spain, the winners of the event in Los Angeles. And here we go, Jimmy Spithill.
Spain's got the right of way here. One more manoeuvre. Australia will come in faster, but Spain's entitled to room. Spain enter that circle first, overlap with Australia. It's advantage Spain here, but can the Aussies keep the speed to go round the outside? I think the Aussies are going to get round.
They got the speed.
Oh, I'm going to stop criticising Jimmy Spithill. He nailed that. What a move, so tight at the bottom. I thought he'd played a bit of a duff move going early, but he got it right, got around the outside.
This is critical to making that final. This will see the French bump down to 4th position and the Australians through to the final with the Canadians and the Kiwis.
And Jimmy Spithill keeps the Australian streak alive of making the event final throughout the season. The big question is now, can he win the big prize and pull off the victory here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix?
Oh, of course he can, Tom.
Unfortunately, for France, who had a great race, finishing in second place. Their second. Remember, they started the race one out with a second. They had to sit and watch that slow burn and watch Jimmy Spittle come back from 9th to 8th, and that is enough to get the Australians in and France out. So it's New Zealand, Australia, and Canada that will be in the event final.
Who writes Jimmy Spittle's scripts, Todd? Because what a moment there, and he's into another final.
Unbelievable. Well, disappointment now has to be on board France at Content de la Pierre. They had an amazing race yesterday. They were consistent throughout, and just 1 point cost them. We go on board with the French SailGP team. Content de la Pierre. Content, that is a tough blow for your team as you sat and watched. What was going through your mind as you saw the Australians and the Spanish having that battle?
Sorry, can you repeat? I didn't copy.
Apologies. Content, I got to ask you, what was going through your mind and the crew's mind as you watched Australia and Spain? Were you doing the math in your mind and you knew that the Spanish had to beat the Australians to the line?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, we were wishing Spain in front of the Aussies, but apparently it's not our time for the final yet, and it's been a while since we worked on every boat handling, and yeah, we still have some work.
Content, we appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck, and we will look forward to seeing you and your crew in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, look at the disappointment there, Todd.
So France is just eliminated by the 1 point as New Zealand, Australia, and Canada are through to the event final.
And a quick look at the numbers behind that race and Canada's victory. While they weren't the fastest boat on the course, they did sail the least amount of distance, and that was critical out there today. Most teams all managed the same number of maneuvers, but it all came down to sailing the least amount of distance as quickly as possible.
Well, that's the small picture details, but the actual race, well, it was a battle of who could get on the foils and who could get on the foils at the crucial moments. And France, well, we thought they'd done enough. Contan found that gust of wind. Was it helicopter gust? Wasn't it? Who knows? But he then managed to stay, held on to second, did a brilliant job. US crew up and foiling. Superb race for them, final race here. But of course, it came down to micro details. Australia 9th at this point in time, but it might have been happening slowly. It was happening right in front of the fans. They'd have been able to feel it as the Aussie went slingshotting around the outside. Wasn't spectacular, but the Roos are back in the final again. And that man, Jimmy Spittle, he's got some sense of timing.
So the event final is set. It will be New Zealand, Australia, and Canada that will battle it out in the event final here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. Who will take the top prize? We're about to find out here on the Arabian Gulf.
Well, that's all from race number 5 here at the Dubai Sail Grand Prix. We are just minutes away from the final, where we will be seeing Australia, New Zealand, and Canada fight for the win. Now, I'm here at the coach's booth, which is similar to the F1 coach's pit lane. And I want to talk a little bit about the Australian team. Now, I think a lot of people were wondering before this, how are the Australians going to go without Tom Slingsby? And you know, they're a team that's won 3 SailGP champion titles. And obviously, they've got an incredible skipper, Jimmy Spittle, coming on. I think a lot of people are curious. Are they going to do well? How are they going to finish? And I was speaking to Jimmy yesterday, and he said a really challenging part was that the playbook he was used to on the U.S. team was much different than the one that they're sailing with on the Australian team. So his mannerisms, his habits that he was used to on the U.S. were different than that on the Australian boat. So they had to iron out a lot of things and try to just work together as a team. And I know from racing on these boats that can be really, really difficult. So they had not the best last race, but they narrowly fit into the finals. And so let's see if they can pull out a win and make Tom Slingsby proud today. Team Canada, they've got Paul Campbell-James on as the new wing trimmer, and this is the first event final that I've seen their team get into. So, you know, you got to wonder, is it Paul Campbell-James? Is he bringing something to the team that the old wing trimmer wasn't? We'll see. So we're heading into the super final, and I'm really excited to see who's going to take it all. Who is going to take the title of the Dubai Sail Grand Prix? We're here in Dubai. Let's go ahead and watch.
Back in Dubai as we get set for the final race. It is the event final. Who will take home the title at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, event 6 of 12 here on season 4. And what a race we just saw. Back in Dubai as we get ready for the final race. It is the event final, and there it is, the trophy making its way. Someone's going to walk away with that beautiful piece of hardware. Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas, providing that trophy as they make their way up to the Mina Rashid and Nikki Beach. And now we're going to talk to those who will be involved in the event final. Going down on the water, of course, it will be the Kiwis will be first up then. So Pete Burling, congratulations. You guys are back in an event final. Looks like the wind may cooperate just enough. You'll drop down to 4 people on board. What will be the strategy, and what do you try to pull off here in this one race with just 2 other boats competing against you? So we go on board now with the Kiwis, Pete Burling, Blair Tuke.
It's ridiculous.
So we got 2 boats out on the water. We'll get this sorted out here momentarily. There you see Canada. There you see Australia. We're 6:45 away from the start of the 3rd and final race. It'll be the Kiwis, it'll be the Australians, and it'll be Canada. So you've got Pete Burling, you've got Jimmy Spithill, and you've got Phil Robertson. Stevie, pick your poison.
Oh, well, I don't know. I got to say, who's on form at the moment? I think that New Zealand boat's on form. I think we came to them at a bit of an unfortunate moment there. I'm sure we'll hear from Pete or Blair very shortly, and a bit later we've got the other crews. I just can't help feeling something's written in the stars for Jimmy Spithill. He's supposed to be rocking up with a team he's not sailed with before. It's supposed to be harder than this, but he's made it through to the final just. So I think perhaps there's something written in the stars. Australia won here in Dubai last year, but for me, New Zealand is the most important boat to beat because I think they're on the most form.
Maybe so, but you've got to have a special place in your heart for the Canadians and just how crazy they can be. I wouldn't write them off just yet.
All right, we got things squared away now. Under 6 minutes to go. We check in now on the Kiwi boat, Peter Burling and crew. Pete, good to have you with us. Glad to have you in the event final. What do you see with the conditions that you have in hand and now just 4 people on crew? What will be the strategy?
Yeah, it's awesome to make it through. Pretty tricky races there and just small margins. You know, you just see what happened to Ben in that last one. The Aussies obviously had a couple of tough ones there, so now it's about, you know, getting rid of the conservatism and putting the hammer down, trying to win the event.
Pete, there seems to be some overtaking to be done out there. Do you think there is opportunity after Mark 1 to make some passes?
Yeah, we were just joking with Joshy and Razor up in the booth about how badly in phase we were up that first beat in the last race. So yeah, hopefully you can rectify that this time.
All right, Pete, appreciate your time. Good luck to you in the event final as we are under 5 minutes away from the big showdown here on the Arabian Gulf at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. So there you see Peter Burling and his crew on the left side of your screen. Jimmy Spithill and the Australians in the 3rd position right now. And dead center is Canada, Phil Robertson, Paul Campbell-James. Just moments ago, Lisa Darmanin caught up with the crazy Canucks.
Well, you did a great job of that race, and I'm sure you want to repeat it. What's going to be the key this final?
Yeah, it was good. Look, we got off the line in great shape, and we were first across it. And I looked over my shoulder at GBR were there in New Zealand, and I thought, well, that's not good because other boats we need to beat by quite a lot of boats. And fortunately, I guess Ben did something a little bit too naughty and got thrown out of the race, so that set up the opportunity quite well.
I'm not sure you know, but USA actually held him up and luffed him, so they did that to you yesterday, so that was a nice favour he did back to you.
Yeah, classic. That's handy. Thanks.
And how's it going with the new wing trimmer, CJ? Obviously, you guys sailed together a while back, but good to get the band back together?
Yeah, it's going well. CJ's great. I've known him for a long time, worked with him before, and yeah, you know, slotted in really well. And you know, I think where Chris sort of left this team was in a really good spot, and we definitely miss him and miss his vibe, but it's also nice having CJ in the mix now as well.
And what would a win mean to your team?
Look, a win would be epic, and obviously I think everyone wants to win, so to make the finals the first step, and yeah, now we just got to go and put it all on the line and go for that gun smoke.
Oh, well, good luck and have fun. Thanks, Phil.
Phil Robertson, always a classic. As we take a look at the protagonist here in the final race of the day, Phil Robertson, there you see his numbers. He has been in the mix, Stevie. He's been on several teams before. He just seems to always be that wild card. He started off this regatta winning the first race, and he wins the last race to get his team in.
Yeah, I think one of the best starters really in the fleet. You see it, but he's up against, well, the old master, hopefully won't mind me calling him old, but Jimmy's been there, won it all. He won the last, worked in Cadiz, you know, so they're on form. He's changed team, but he's sailing with old friends, and he seems to be settling in pretty well.
And let's not forget the Kiwis and Peter Burling. You talk about his CV. Wow, that is impressive.
There's not a lot missing from that one, but he would argue there is a win at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, and that is for sure on his list of jobs to do.
So coming up on 2:20 to go before the event final here in Dubai. All right, here we go. It's time prediction. No sitting back. You got to take a stand. We'll start with you. And Lisa, let's start with you.
Well, you called Jimmy Spithill the comeback kid. We didn't think he was going to make the final. He's got something to prove, and I think that whole team does too. So I think he'll be gunning for it, and everyone wants it, but I think he wants it most.
All right, Emily Nagel, who you got?
I'm going with the Aussies as well. You know, they came into this with a different driver on board. They haven't won an event yet this season. I think this is their moment.
The Cinderella story would be Jimmy Spithill winning back in the green and gold for Tom Slingsby, who is on paternity leave. Stevie, you going to rock the boat, or are you going to go with the Aussies?
I'm going to rock the boat. I mean, I heard out there there's sort of fantastic crew there, and we know how well they work in this 4-crew lineup. That's something we saw yesterday. We also know they're all wearing Tom Slingsby socks, so there's Tom Socksby's out on the water with them in spirit, so he's very much there. But as I had forgotten, actually, yeah, this would be their first event win of the season, yes. So they would love to go back to Tom Slingsby, telling him they can finally win now he's off the boat. But no, for me, I've got to say, I believe that the crew that is going to win it is the New Zealand crew. I just think they've had a bit of a rough ride through the mid-season. I would argue they had a terrible European leg. But for Burling, Maloney, Tuke and Liv Mackay, they've been there, they've done it before. And I think they need it. Results-wise for the season, they need it. However, for me, Phil Robertson is the best starter in the fleet. He's got the opportunity to come in hot at this start line with a bit of space, and 34 seconds to go. They're all lined up for the tide run. They're going to have a bit of space. There's a lot less disturbed wind out there now. There's less boats around. What do Robertson and Annie Hager have lined up strategy-wise? It looks like they're trying to take the inside position. That means a shorter distance but a slower angle to Mark 1. It's suggested to be the favourite option, though, and now it's 15 seconds out. The boats are up and foiling. They've all got the run-up. Jimmy Spithill's got the fastest angle, but he's going to have to sail further. Jam in the middle of the sandwich is New Zealand, and it's now all about timing. How's your timing, Jimmy Spithill? Coming in hot. I love the Australian position here. He should be able to convert this into a fast-forward mode and roll over the top of those other two boats. All of them late. Bad timing, but Australia's Jimmy Spithill's got it right. Advantage Australia.
So it's the green and gold out in front here at the event final of the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. Just to Spithill's left are the Kiwis, and then the Crazy Canucks on the inside line. Can Phil Robertson at mark number 1 bring the gun smoke?
He's going to struggle from there, Todd. He's starting to now feel the effects of that big Australian wind sail, sending disturbed wind towards him at the moment. That will slow him up. Less wind, less speed. Simple facts there. He should hang on the inside of New Zealand, though, as Australia move away, and it's now all about, can the Australians keep it clean from here?
The Australians, the fastest boat on the course right now, 49 kilometres an hour. New Zealand not much slower, though.
20.
I think the interesting thing there as well is once you get down to this 3-boat final, it's not necessarily about how good your start is, it's just about is it better than everyone else. And I don't think any of the crews will be very happy with the start, but Jimmy had the best start, and there we go. First to manoeuvre is Australia, but New Zealand, well, they've got to try and make something happen now. They've turned the boat first, they're on the inside, and they've stayed on the foils. Numbers up on New Zealand here, they're foiling. Australia have messed it up, they're in the water. Canada are foiling. Who's going to be able to convert this, though? They're all back up and foiling. This race is far from done. Slight twitch and slight mistake by Australia, but I think they should be able to hang on from here.
Little NASCAR on water as they go 3 wide, approaching gate number 2, and Jimmy Spithill on the inside line has the speed back up now, over 45 kilometers an hour as they approach the next gate. This is gate number 2, the Dubai gate.
I think we're going to see a left turn for Australia and Canada, and I would anticipate New Zealand setting up one more manoeuvre and turning right. Now, in the last, so far today, the left turn's been good. You save a manoeuvre here, Australia, but New Zealand will split, I would imagine now, try and find more wind, different wind on the other side of the course. What are Canada going to do? Canada split as well. They cover off New Zealand. Great news for Australia, I think, that neither boat could quite make it to gate 2 straight. Big gains for the Australians.
High mode. Trying to stay foiling though.
So Australia has the lead, Canada in second, 13 seconds behind, and the Kiwis now rounding as well, 21 seconds in the rear of the Australians.
And the Kiwis won't like, because they've had to follow a boat out round the mark. They're sailing in that turbulent, disturbed wing off the boat in front, so New Zealand has to manoeuvre. What New Zealand needs now is space if they're going to have any chance to catch Australia.
And it's good news right now for the Australian team with slightly more wind on the top of the screen than the Canadians on the left side of the course. But all to play for still.
Not a lot in it, Todd. Look at this. Australia have the right of way, but New Zealand are coming back not too far away from them. No boats here are foiling, so they're all about minimising manoeuvres and minimising distance. And to my eye, it's New Zealand sailing the angle that's progressing them up the course the quickest at the moment, which would suggest maybe they're nicely aligned up with the wind shifts. Australia look to get on the foils. Big moment in the race here. Australia are foiling. They've burnt a lot of distance to make it happen. Short-term loss. Will it be a long-term gain to the Aussies as Canada take the lead provisionally on the water right now?
Jib on, guys, jib on.
To get fast enough there, Todd, to get on the foils, they had to sail a lot of extra distance. That was what caused their lead change, but now, of course, they're probably going nearly 10, 15 kilometres an hour quicker. More than that. Here we go. Advantage New Zealand. Advantage to the Aussies here, but as they're close to the boundary, they're going to have to give room to Canada. They will have to turn on board Australia. Jimmy's going to ask the question to the umpires, but I think Canada were close enough to the boundary to be protected, and this race is really tight. It was a bit of a loss trying to get on the foils here. It's not quite windy enough, 13 kilometres an hour, top left of the screen, and well, it's really, really tight. This is classic match race stuff here.
We've got a big cross coming, Stevie. Look at this, the Kiwis on the right-hand side, the Australians and the Canadians are all going to converge right in the center of the course.
They are, and it's going to be right of way with the Kiwis at the moment. However, I think those two boats are far enough ahead. But good news for New Zealand is if you are behind, you want to be sailing the opposite direction. Because, oh, here we go. New Zealand are fast enough to foil. This is a big move for the Kiwis now. They're up and foiling. They're going to look to get round the other two boats.
We can see here that the Australians have committed to that high but slow mode. So they're sailing less distance by making their way up the ladder lines, but their speed is down at 21 kilometres an hour.
It's so hard, though. When you're near another boat, it's hard not to be affected by the other boat. Be that turbulent wind affecting you and directly slowing you down, or be that mentally affected of, like, I want to beat this guy, I'm going to just take them out. And I think here you can see the Canadians and the Aussies are a bit tied together, which should be an advantage for New Zealand because they can sail their own race, sail free and fast, but still, you'd rather be sat on first position right now in control of things. But New Zealand, they're moving up the leaderboard. Look, they're up to second on paper, and they will be the fastest boat, I'd have thought, right now.
This is the event final, the final race of the day at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. It is Australia out in front, New Zealand second, Canada currently sitting in third. There you see the wind holding steady at 13.8 kilometers across the entire course. They'll make this gate, then it's down to the next gate, and then a right turn to the finish line.
Yeah, crucial moment now. Next boat on the foils wins this event, I think. That would be my call. Can New Zealand get up on the foils? They're coming in here. They have the inside. That could also be a crucial factor. New Zealand will be allowed to turn left inside Australia and Canada should it be tight. Look how slow it is. Fastest boat is New Zealand. They have the right of way, but will they choose to turn left, or do they think they can get clear across in front?
Hey, we're going to foil in this one. Speed's coming quick.
I think New Zealand are going to try and go behind and get on the foils here. They're going to try and dip behind Canada and Australia and split the course with them, but they're going to hope to be on the foil. They are foiling. New Zealand, Australia are going to be slow here. Right of way, Canada on the inside, turns them up now. Can New Zealand make it round this neck? They're trying desperately to foil, but I think they might have forced it too hard. They're struggling here. Canada in great shape, up on the foils. Always advantage Canada.
And Australia right behind them. They are up on the foils as well. The speeds come up as New Zealand splits the course. Let's go down on the water for this final leg at Lisa Darmanin.
All the way into this corner, okay? No more depth.
Anything can happen here. This is a repeat of last year. I think it really is going to go down to this final manoeuvre. I think we saw exactly the same thing, a big switch. I do think where the Kiwis are going has been more powerful during the day, but I think between Canada and Australia, it's going to be about the manoeuvres, Australia deciding to move first.
There go the Aussies. First to turn, top left of screen, New Zealand. They look like they're in good wind at the moment, but it is going to be about accuracy. New Zealand, have we found more wind? Australia, Canada, who's done the best manoeuvres?
Looking at the wind across the course, I'd say it's pretty even. It's only within half a kilometre an hour across the course, so it all comes down to how accurate they can be with their manoeuvres and how quickly they can be up on the foils.
The Kiwis nailed the turn there. They were the first to turn. They stayed on the foils, but so did Australia. And when they come back together, it's going to be Australia with the right of way over Canada, but the Canadians are on the crucial inside position.
Here we go. This is the penultimate leg. It'll be down to this next gate, a right-hand turn in front of the fans at the Adrenaline Lounge, and it'll be all on as the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix title is on the line. Here come the Kiwis streaking it at over 43 kilometers an hour.
Next boat to turn will be Australia. They'll have the right of way over Canada, and they'll be able to come back quickly at them. New Zealand, 2 more manoeuvres to do before the next mark, but they will potentially, if they're close enough, have the right of way. This is so tight. Australia need to nail this jibe if they've got a hope of winning. Here we go.
Jimmy Spithill calls for the turn.
He has the right of way. They stay on the foils just, but here go Canada. They're going to turn right in front of them. They play blocker. Can the Canadians stick this manoeuvre?
One hole down for the Canadians there.
Oh, the Aussies are foiling. They're going to be fast over the top. New Zealand, now they have the right of way if they can get into that yellow circle here. Advantage New Zealand for me as they come in. New Zealand with a last-minute dive. They've got the right of way on the inside and they hit this circle.
Look at this, the Kiwis as they come in. It is going to be tight at the corner. Who's going to give way?
Canada have got to give room to Australia and to New Zealand. Oh, there's going to be protests here, Todd.
This is the umpires. Penalty Canada, penalty Australia, not giving Mark room.
And look how close they are.
Dive on the inside.
New Zealand meters away as they come to the finish line. Who's going to have the pressure to win it? As they come up, look how close this is.
Oh, it's a laughing. New Zealand have got to keep clear of Australia now, and Canada on the outside, but they should have a penalty.
Canada crosses the line. Now who turns the boat? And it looks like the Emirates winning moment will go the way of the Kiwis.
I don't know. There's lots to be answered. Craig Mitchell's going to decide this. It's going to the umpires because there was so many penalty incidents in there. That unbelievable, incredible scenes here.
Canada crosses the line first, but they had a penalty to get rid of. It was Australia who was in second place who had the right of way, but it was the Kiwis who crossed the line without a penalty. So Craig Mitchell, chief umpire, will sort this whole thing out. Stevie, it's got to be either Australia or Kiwis, right?
Oh, I don't know, because the way the rules are written, there needs to be a lead change when you get a penalty. Now, did Canada drop far enough behind Australia in that one penalty to go through? However, I think their foul was so bad that they caused too much of a loss to Australia, and they should have a double penalty. That's my opinion. That was, to me, a pretty blatant foul, not giving enough room. Phil Robertson, if there's anyone that's going to push a limit, he's played the game. If he wins it, hats off to him, because that was an aggressive play of the rules. But to me, New Zealand had the right of way. They should have been able to round it how they want. Because of Canada's actions on Australia, they stopped New Zealand having the space they should have. but Australia didn't have the space they should have either. And then, oh, I mean, wow. Yeah, to me, it's all in the umpire's hands. I could give it to any one of the three of them.
So don't pop the bubbly just yet. Emily Nagel, from your position, what do you think?
I'd have to agree with Stevie there about the Canadians definitely being in the wrong. But who that goes to over New Zealand or Australia, it's a close call.
And this all goes back to a black flag in the 5th race with Emirates GBR taken out. They were in a top 3 position. They get removed. The Australians somehow find a way in, and it will be officially the Emirates winning moment going to New Zealand, taking the win at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix.
And that, to me, do you know what? That's the right call.
Yep.
They were on the inside. That Emirates winning moment, for me, should really be New Zealand's, because they weren't given the room they were entitled to at the mark. Canada, fair play, pushed the limits, tried to squeeze it out. But yeah, what a race, Todd. It's not all over till it's over.
Absolutely. Just when you thought the Kiwis were on the outside looking in, when they split the course, they get up on the foils, they come in hot, and it looked like it was going to be between Australia and Canada at this point. And here they are at the finish line. Canada does cross the line first, but a penalty still to absolve. And watch this turn as Pete Burling just, I mean, we're talking a meter or two ahead of Jimmy Spithill and the Australians.
Oh, I mean, you would like a bit more wind, but wow, that's some exciting stuff, isn't it? Even at that, the chess game that took place in that last 500 metres down there, New Zealand played 2 extra moves, but they absolutely nailed them.
Oh, this is one for the ages as we break this one down.
It certainly wasn't the most action-packed of starts we're used to seeing. All 3 teams were quite a long way back at the start, but all aiming for that optimum point of the line. So the best time start today, or in this final, was 4.7 seconds late by Australia, but they came in with pace and flew to Mark 1. I mean, we thought it was in the bag for them at this point, but oh, were we wrong.
Well, and here we go. We saw as we got going on in the race, it was light, it was tricky, it was about that accuracy and that power that you could put down, and we had so many lead changes. The P&O Marinas fastest speed, well, that went to Australia on the downwind leg, 51.78 kilometres an hour. They had that ruse going pretty quick, but it turned into a tactical battle, and this really was the move here, the chess move of Burling. They go left, I go right. I split the course. That meant Burling was going to be separated from those other boats on the downwind leg. Canada did a fantastic job. Australia did a fantastic job, but there was just detail, detail, detail. And as we come down now, it's New Zealand with the right of the way on the inside. They're entitled to room to turn right on that mark. Australia got foiling. They suddenly became overlap with Canada right now. Now Canada have got to suddenly give room to 2 boats. How do they do that? Well, they didn't do it well enough. They didn't give enough room, compromised all the team's roundings. New Zealand were forced to do an unnatural turn in there. Fortunately, we avoided collision. Excellent driving by all the drivers out there, but then it was another battle. New Zealand should have been allowed a clearer rounding there, should have been able to accelerate through. Canada, by forcing it round the outside, for me, the right result. New Zealand take the win.
It's actually really interesting looking at the numbers from this final, because all 3 teams sailed quite different modes. We see Australia in second there. They had the fastest average speed, but they sailed the most distance. The Canadians, they sailed the least number of maneuvers and sailed the shortest distance, but also the slowest speed. Meanwhile, our winners, the Kiwis, they were in the middle. They had middle average speed, sailed 5 kilometers, but spent the most time on the foils, but also did the most number of maneuvers. So all 3 sailing different ways.
So more maneuvers get you the victory, and there it is. New Zealand gets the win in the 10 points. Australia still locked out of an overall title. Jimmy Spithill did his best. They finished in second, and Canada's finishing in 3rd place. They will pick up 8 points for the overall. France just missing out on the event final. Emirates GBR with that black flag cost them an event final. They finished in 5th place. Then it's Rockwell, Denmark, Switzerland, the USA with their new team finishing in 8th place, with Germany and Spain finishing in 9th and 10th here at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas. And the Fly Better moments brought to you by Emirates Well, Stevie, we got two of them. We got Canada, and they certainly had their moments this weekend.
They really delivered under pressure, and there's some lovely manoeuvres for this newly put together crew. I mean, they've got Paul Campbell-James joined in them this weekend, and certainly doesn't look like a bad mix in the team. And talk about new crew members coming on board. Well, it's a bit of the old and the new, really. Jimmy Spithill sailing with the Australian boat, and they had so many Emirates fly better moments, but none of them flew as well as the New Zealand crew, who got it done just. It was so close.
The Kiwis back in the winner's circle with a masterclass on that last leg. Wow, so catch your breath as we debrief everything, and what a performance as the Kiwis get it done. We go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin with the Kiwis. Oh, Lisa's with the Aussies.
On the Australian boat, Todd. Jimmy, you almost didn't make the final. You almost clinched the win, pushing to the last second.
Yeah, look, what a great race. You know, it was very close the whole way through. I don't think any of us knew what the result was going into the end there. There were multiple real complications with the gate down there near the adrenaline lounge. So, yeah, what a race.
And did you have fun sailing with the Aussies? Tricky racetrack.
It was a very tricky racetrack. I mean, I'm happy that I gave them a decent result in the overall, but I'm disappointed we didn't get the win. I mean, at this point, basically, this is my last event as a SailGP athlete, you know, so I'm basically retiring after this event. Clearly, I'm going to be heavily involved with the Italian team running it, but I think I'm at the stage now where I need to let some new talent come through. So I think it seems fitting to kind of end it with this team. You know, the last time I represented Australia was 23 years ago, so to complete the circle, finish this last event, it's been one hell of a ride, but that's it for me.
Thanks for everything you've done for the sport, and we'll see you soon on shore. Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy Spithill has been amazing for SailGP. We wish him the best of luck as the Italian team comes aboard as well. So, in the end, it is New Zealand that gets the win, and it was this moment right here, the penalty going to Canada. Double penalty, really, as they force all three teams. But look at this, 3 wide in front of the adrenaline lounge, and at the line, Canada has the penalty, so they can't get the win. It's New Zealand that turns just ahead of Australia to take the title. And the celebration is on with the Kiwis as they continue to enjoy their moment in the sun. We go on board now with their team, very happy to get the win. Peter Burling and company. Pete, congratulations. Take us through that last gate, what you were seeing and what you were hearing from the other teams, because you were close enough to hear everyone's conversation.
Oh, you can hear me there, right? I'm not sure my comms are on.
You're good.
Good. No, it was, it was a bit of a nail biter, wasn't it? You know, I think as a team, we just made that little mistake at the back of the start box, put us on the back foot the whole way, but then just stayed out of phase right on the back of both boats the whole way around, managed to get the inside at the bottom. Yeah, I thought there might have been a penalty on the boats outside us because, you know, that evasive manoeuvre we had to do at the bottom was pretty extreme, but no, stoked to walk away with the win.
Yeah, I think poor old Craig Mitchell's pretty stressed over those last few metres, Pete, and after what can only be described as probably a disappointing European leg for you, this must feel incredible to get the wheels back on the bus.
Yeah, well, whether you can describe it disappointing, I think the biggest disappointment was not getting to race for half of the European League, and I think today we've really showed, you know, what we've got as a team to put this wing back up, you know, get over everything that happened in Saint-Tropez, come away with a win. I think it just proves how much depth we've got, and looking forward to the things to come.
Pete, how confident were you in the first day results that you guys had a 6th, a 2nd, and a 4th? Were you starting to think that maybe the event final weren't in your cards?
Oh, we're second overnight. Felt like every day we were going forward really quickly in the racing, sailing really well. Knew we were just needed to get 2 kind of mediocre conservative starts, and you know, we just took a pretty conservative line today. We've got a couple of solid starts, a couple of solid races to keep our, you know, we've been saying it all along, you just got to make it through to the final. It's been a bit of our Achilles heel, but, you know, stoked once we made it there to cap it off with a win.
Pete, congratulations. Go enjoy with your team. You are the champions of the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas. So now the trophy presentation is on, and how about this? We're going outside the box. Chris Gale, international cricket player, taking to the water, Stevie, to hand off this beautiful trophy.
Yeah, I mean, he was a really aggressive fast bowler back in the day and a top-level athlete, so no surprise for him to be out there. Fantastic to see, and what a great scene we're getting here in Dubai. Great to have this happening.
So New Zealand finishing fourth in the last event. They get the win here in Dubai. And this goes back, Stevie, do you remember the mast breaking? The last time the big wings were on there, they were the victim of the big crash that came down. What a tragedy it was for them. And now they bounce back to pick up a victory.
Well, yeah, that's right. And it's a shame Pete didn't mention coming in and joining us as a real summer highlight for him. But yeah, I mean, it's been a tough time. And he said they're a strong unit. They had a tough first season. They had a fantastic season 3. But the wheels are back on the bus. This will do great things to their season standings. This will really get them moving up the ladder, that's for sure. And yeah, it shows the strength of the team, it shows the performance, but what I think it shows the strength of SailGP, that 3 boats can go round that final mark 50 meters from the line, tied together by a piece of string.
And now the celebration is really on. Pete Burling, wise enough to know to put his goggles on and hold that trophy high above his head. But what a performance, Emily, for New Zealand. Think about it. They missed an event, and now they're seriously a top 5 contender.
It's brilliant news for the Kiwis. And you know what? We've had 2 years in a row, an amazing final here in Dubai.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have more of this in the next event down the road in Abu Dhabi. I mean, brilliant racing.
No question about it. I don't think we've had a race that close in the history of SailGP. 3 boats going 3 wide at the finish line. And what a performance by Peter Burling. He said it, we were on the back foot, thought they might have been out of the race in that event final, and somehow they managed to come back, pick the right side of the course, and they get up on the foils in the waiting moments of that race to get past Canada and Australia for the win.
Well, it's great scenes, isn't it? And what a fantastic weekend's racing. You could see those final shots there. The fans are 20 meters. It's like being on the side of a football pitch. Yeah. They're right there on the boats. The sailing's happening right in front of them. And some of these moments are just so tight.
Well, coming up in just about a month's time, we move down the coast to one of the most spectacular cities in the world. This is Abu Dhabi. And the 7th event of season 4 will be the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix. Stevie, this place is magical. We should see more of the same conditions, flat water, and hopefully more wind and high speeds.
Yeah, just down the coast, we can expect nice sea breezes there, some fantastic sailing. But this is a huge moment.
Turning up. You better be on your mark.
Here we go. Brilliant start.
Look at me.
Like a flying arrow.
You with me?
Absolutely on the money.
Full speed here. We're racing.
Oh, that was tight.
Gotta go.
And we are on.
Just gotta get to the finish line here, guys. And now the party can really begin. Well done, guys. Yeah! Hope to see you there in 2024. Next event, event number 7 of 12, season 4, the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix, January 13th and 14th. Emily Nagel, final thoughts from you.
I think we're going to be going into a great event. We've now got Australia still leading the leaderboard, but Danish and Kiwis just behind them.
Emirates GBR in 4th, and the USA rounding out the top 5. Stevie, it is all on as we get ready for the second half of the season.
Yeah, well, look at those season standings, Todd. Australia, well, Jimmy Spithill kept the wagons on going well there, but New Zealand, they're now in that top 3. Sehested on Denmark, that was not a good weekend for them. And for Spain, Canada in the middle of the pack, it's crucial. We're mid-season now. Results matter so much.
All right, that wraps things up from Dubai. On behalf of Lisa Darman and Emily Nagel and Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris saying so long for now. You've been watching the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix. Dubai takes center stage as an event winner will be crowned today on the Persian Gulf. It is Emirates GBR that gets the win.
Wow, that was aggressive.
GBR, you're disqualified.
Oh, no! Canada SailGP wins the 5th race. And it is going to be tight at the corner. Who's going to give way? It was the Kiwis who crossed the line.